Nowadays.
We're just
Maybe I'm
talking
thinking
about
anime.
what you're into. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Hey everybody. Welcome to the mess hall with Jamie Rowan and Andrew Youngblood.
That's me. And we got a special guest today, Justin Smith.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Oklahoma City Zone.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
You should tell them more because they don't.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. He's from Oklahoma. That's
I'm gonna
no.
tell you something. This is what's wild is I get recognized. I've lived in Nashville for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I've been recognized more in Nashville because being a comedian than I ever have in my home state of Oklahoma.
Isn't that wild? Because there's like 5 people in Oklahoma City. So you think they would all know who each other were.
Listen, you're going to throw shots at Oklahoma this early on?
I like Oklahoma. I go regularly.
Yeah.
I do. I have friends in Oklahoma City. I've been to many of the bars. Hilo, it's closed down now.
Right.
You know that one? That was my spot.
Closed years ago. So
Not that many years ago. Maybe, 3 years ago? It was pandemic's time.
Yeah, it kind of is whatever.
Yeah. Real dirty, divey piece of shit bar, but I kind of liked it. They let you smoke inside. It was very gross.
I love that.
Ugh.
I love smoking inside.
There's the Drunken Fry, and then what's the one across the street? Elaine's, not Elaine's.
Edna's.
Edna's, very close. I was close to it.
Edna's is great. Edna's is one of my true favorite spots because they have this thing, and it's called what's the drink called? It's
their famous drink. It tastes like an orange popsicle.
No,
an orange creamsicle.
It's a Coors Light, and then they put a shot of amaretto in it, and then it's a splash of orange juice. It's called a lunchbox.
Yeah, and then you chug it.
It is
in a frozen mug.
Every person that I take there, I go, this is insane. I go, but try it, and then you drink them all night.
It's supposed to be bad.
No, it's amazing.
No, it tastes like
not
it tastes
in
like a
Chicago,
creamsicle.
like how we have Malort.
It's not a creamsicle.
It tastes like
He's
a creamsicle.
Not selling it well. It's
Creamsicle's good. That's a good taste.
It is, but that's not what it is. It's a whole different thing. It's like the way you're selling this drink is the way you're selling Oklahoma. It's like
it tastes like a creamsicle. What are you gonna? Okay, please describe the taste of it.
I actually can get this because Coors Light is a good base because it tastes kind of like nothing. Right. So it gives that bubbles with. It's like a good.
Okay.
It adds a little zhuzh of alcohol, but without like any intense flavor. Whatever else you put in it is going to be the strong flavor, right?
All right. Let's hear the description of how you're selling this to somebody.
Okay. Well, first of all, everybody with every head bowed and every eye closed, you should see like a thin, long line of fog,
a frozen mug,
and then emerging out of the fog, you see a frosty, cold, just shivering
creamsicle.
This is the worst.
This
is the worst.
Shut up. I won't say anything the rest of the time.
This is the worst.
Okay. All right. I won't say anything the rest of the time.
Respect.
Thin, long line of fog. An emerging frosty mug. Coors Light. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is so disgusting. And then you see that sweet, beautiful bottle of amaretto come in. And it's like watching an episode of Baywatch where somebody's drowning and there's bad dialogue and you're like, oh my gosh, how could this ever? And then the lifeguards come running to the rescue. And then a splash of orange juice. And then you take it and it's ever so skeptical. Somebody that looks just like Andrew that's been to every hipster bar imaginable and he knows what kind of wax to use on a handlebar mustache. He knows it more intimately than anybody else. He could never be moved by such a drink, such a beverage. Nothing could ever touch him in any way. And then he takes it and he puts it to his lips. And that sad, depressing, just hurtful ego knows that it's got to fold like a deck of cards because this thing is delicious and it comes from Oklahoma. And he knows he's going to have to text his friend Justin right now.
Am I
and say,
crying?
I'm wrong.
I feel like I got emotional listening to that description.
That is not only a description of the greatest Oklahoma cocktail that's ever lived. That is Oklahoma in a nutshell right there. Nobody likes to admit that it's amazing, but when you go there and you spend time there and you really experience it, it's second to none.
Like,
yeah, I would disagree with some of what he just said.
do I want to go to Oklahoma City?
I will say there's a lot of good things about Oklahoma, and Garth Brooks being the main one.
You know what? You just keep throwing shots at me, bro.
Well, Garth Brooks is great. That's great.
But that's a whole. But he's a whole thing for me too, because he comes from my. Garth Brooks is from my hometown.
Are y'all like? He's much older than you.
Yeah, I didn't say we hung out and shot guns. Like, but the problem is
they actually
that,
started together.
Yeah, but he's from my hometown, so growing up, anytime you want to do anything like in art or like a performance based anything, you're like, oh, I just want to be like famous enough to be like known and loved in my hometown. And the dude's on a water tower. The dude's like has like a wing of a hospital. Like his name is everywhere in this town. And he was so famous that in the high school seniors photo, they have those big long senior photos where every senior's on the thing. They had to replace his photos because people would come in with a box cutter and cut out his senior photo. So if you look at the wall thing, his photo has been cut out multiple times. So they had to like reprint it and put it up.
Funny.
So it's not as discolored as everybody else. So imagine having that dude like being in your world. And in fact, what's crazy about it is my uncle ran a bar in Stillwater when he was trying to make it. And he came to Nashville and he didn't make it and he came back. And so my uncle was managing this bar and hired him back to play on Friday nights. And he was a bouncer. He's a big dude. He's like a Golden Gloves guy. So he would hire Garth to come back after he didn't make it in Nashville. And so I always thought that my uncle would tell me these stories about knowing Garth. And you're like, that's not real. And then a few years ago, like several years ago, he did like that kind of like he came back tour and he was doing a bunch of stuff. And my cousin at the time was like a big fan. And so he was coming to Arizona where they lived because my uncle's like a college football coach. And they were playing in Arizona, and they came to this theater like during the day, and they walk into this theater, and Garth is doing sound check, and he plays like 6 of her favorite songs just for her.
Oh,
and then they like do like this. He does basically like a private concert for her, and then they come to the show that night. And then you're like, when you hear stuff like that, you're like, that's not real. Like they're making this up. And then you see all the photos, and you're like, oh, I guess my uncle knew Garth like that.
Is he a good dude? Is he like
I
a
think
good
so,
person?
Everything I've heard, right?
Yeah.
Are there rumors of some real shitty stuff or no?
Dude, you can't be that famous and
Of
not have
course.
stories
Yeah.
like that.
What do you do? What's the rumor that you know? Because you're going to know more of a rumor. Because I don't think there's any big rumors.
No, let's not talk about the shitty rumor. He's a good. I feel like that's bullshit. I'm sure he's a good guy.
You kind of want to hear him.
Well, I will. Well, I'll tell you I'll tell you a genuine moment that I've had with him.
Okay.
Because I've heard all these stories and stuff like that, and I'll never forget when I was in I think middle school or high school. I was like a freshman or something in high school, and we're in a furniture store, and this famous place in Oklahoma called Mathis Brothers. It's this huge place. It's like a warehouse, but it's filled with furniture. And they have these, when you buy, there's these long lines where you go with your salesman and you tack everything up and you do delivery, but it's like a standing booth almost. It's kind of like an Ellis Island booth where you're talking to somebody like getting a passport or something. So they're sitting there on these computers and I look over and I see him and I'm very good at like recognizing people and I go, oh, that's him. That's Garth. My mom's like, no, because he's wearing like Carhartt everything. He's wearing like a co-op baseball cap. And I go, no, that's him. And she goes, well, go ask him if he knows your uncle. And I go, oh, this is like the test. This is like the test. I've been waiting for this opportunity to see if my uncle has been lying to me. Because like my family, we're all kind of like, we embellish stories like to the umph degree. It's kind of like where I got it from. Like my grandpa was a guy that was like, oh yeah, I met John Wayne. And like, I don't think you did. But I think it makes for a great story. So I walk over to him and I go, hey, I don't say I know who you are. I just go, hey, I think you know my uncle. And he goes, well, who's your uncle's name? And I say my uncle's name. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, that dude, he's a great dude.
That's
like
awesome.
he's like in his way, he was like, your uncle's a real one. And when I saw his like face, because like there's times where like when you meet famous people and they talk, they have that face of, oh, like I'm famous and I know that you're just happy to be with me. So like I'm putting on a face for you so that when people ask you, hey, is he nice? That you get to go, yeah. Like that's the joy that you give somebody when you're famous, is when somebody goes, hey, is he nice? Oh, yeah, he's great. Like I'm giving you that gift. But when I asked him the question, like, do you know my uncle? I watched his like face change. And you go, oh, like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's like, and I go, yeah, it's good. Have a nice, whatever. And he was also buying a lift chair, which if you're ever doing that for somebody, that means it's real.
Something sad's happening.
Yeah, it's real sad.
Also, where were you shopping where he was buying a lift chair?
It's a furniture store. I don't know if you know what furniture stores do, but they have. Yeah,
I didn't know they had a lift chair. I thought that was like a very medical, very specific place.
This place they have everything. It's like crazy. They have every piece of furniture you could ever imagine.
It's nice that it was a good interaction, though, generally, because I feel like you always have those people where you meet and you're like, fuck, I wish I would have never met this person I respect because they sucked. Like,
has that ever happened to you? Who do you got?
Oh,
Let's talk about people we think suck.
I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like I don't know that it's somebody that everybody would relate to. Like, my hero people are kind of like C-list I shouldn't even call them C-list comics, but like comics, that I love, that I think are a big deal. And then I'll talk about them to other people and they're like, who's that? But I specifically remember like at Skankfest, like everybody was so loving. It was such a love fest both years that I went, and I'm going again this year. It's the best ever. I love it so much. But then there were two people who I interacted with who, honestly, they're in relationships. And I think maybe anytime a woman approaches a man, they think you're hitting on them. So like my genuine love and respect for their comedy maybe came off to them as like, but they weren't very friendly, or maybe they're just autistic, or maybe I don't know what, but like the interaction was like, I was like, oh, bummer, because I wish it wasn't like that. But with everyone else there, most of my interactions with people I met have been great, but occasionally it's like, ugh. And I told you, like, even this week I opened for Cameron and I was like, I think she thought I was hitting on her when I was like, do you want...
Oh, how was that?
It was great. It was great. I was like, honestly, it was such a relief, because do you ever have those, like, I had been at the Improv like half a dozen times and it was always great until before Cameron, and it was so not good. I shit the bed. It was so bad.
What show was it?
It was Laura Peak, Nashville.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a bummer, and I was like, they'll never hire me again. We're narcissists. We think we're the center of the universe. And they hired me again, so it was fine. And this week was great. It was super fun. But afterwards, I was like, a lot of comics want to go. We're addicts. We want to go do more comedy, right? So I was like, I'm going to secret group. Do you want to come with me? Like, there's a great place to have dinner nearby. I didn't mean together. I just meant like, you can go have dinner.
You can go have dinner by yourself?
Yeah.
Or with me. But I felt like she thought that I was hitting on her. So she like hugged me and she was like, I'm good. I'm going to go to bed. I was like...
Or she just didn't want to hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe. Either way. But I was like...
But you also...
Ugh.
I also like that you're like... That's where your brain goes, is like... Well, of course she thought I was hitting on her, because I'm like, because I'm a smoke show.
No, that's
don't
not
you
what
know?
That's not
don't
what I'm
you
saying.
know?
I got that vibe from her because I specifically was like, I don't know. I think I made it weird. I was like, let's go to dinner, and there's a great dinner spot nearby, or you can go. I was making it awkward, probably.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. If you were like, if I was in her position and you were like, let's go to dinner, like that's not like go to dinner is such like a proper thing.
Hey, you want to grab a bite?
Yeah, you want to go. Hey, you want to get some food and go? Like, I'm going to a show. Yeah, if you want to get up more or whatever, like there's different ways to say it than do you want to go to dinner?
You asked her out like a nervous teenager. You're like, would you like to go to dinner, or you could go by yourself if you wanted. Whatever, it's fine.
I was nervous. I didn't want her to feel pressure to say yes to me, so I was like, I'm going. I can give you a ride or whatever. Like.
So, anyways, you don't like Cameron Esposito? That's who we're talking about.
No. She was actually lovely. She was lovely.
I was kidding.
No.
You were talking about a married couple from Skankfest.
Yeah, there were a couple dudes that I was surprised because it was such, like I said, it was such a love fest all weekend. There were a couple there were two dudes that were very
Just say it.
standoffish.
Why not say?
What? But you
It's more
always want me
fun.
to talk shit
Yeah,
on
it's
people.
more fun. I'll talk shit. I'll tell you who I met that I don't like, probably.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you go first. You got
Let's
to finish
hear
it
the
one story
story.
at a time. I opened for Creed Branton once, and that guy really disappointed me. Didn't even let us in the green room. It was a
Oh,
real pain in the ass.
shit.
We literally, I was so excited. I invited my dad to the show. I'm such an Office fan, obviously. We've talked about it 18,000 times on this goddamn show. So I'm opening for him. I'm so excited. And then we get there, and he's like, hey, and then he shuts the door on our face, and me and a comic named Gary Bravo are sitting out there what the fuck do we do now? And we just stood outside the green room and went up, and he didn't fucking talk to us the whole time. And it was really disappointing.
Maybe he was having a panic attack. Maybe he has anxiety. You never know what the fuck
Maybe
people
he's
are
a
going
dickhead.
through.
I don't know.
Maybe he's
I'm
a total
kidding. I hope
dick.
he's not. But, it could have been a bad day for him.
But you
it
know,
was pretty weird.
I also think, and I hate being the dude that always defends people that are being weird. But I know for a fact, because I've had conversations with certain dudes, especially LA dudes, people that act and are doing stand up, they have a different preparation process.
Yeah.
I've opened for. There's another dude that I know that he was very nice, very great to work with, very funny. But when I came in to work with him, I was at Zany's, and the club manager was like, "Hey, can you come do this spot? It'd be great to have he told me that the guys he wants good comics the whole way through." And so she goes, "You want to come do the spot? You can do whatever." And I go, "Yeah, sure." And so she goes, "But he doesn't want anybody in the green room." And I go, "Okay, that's fine." And after the first show, we're sitting in the green room between shows, and he's doing all his stuff. And by the way, he also has a way of warming up. It's very distinct. He does mouth exercises, and he does stretches and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. And I'm sitting there, and by the way, I've opened for enough people to know that the best thing you can ever do when you're opening for somebody, and this is for young comics, is be calm. Don't ask for advice. Don't ask for don't ask for
don't be a weirdo.
That's the problem but nobody says that. Everybody goes, he shuts people out. But when people come in and it's this person from something, it's all you want to do is ask questions or owe you something. Think about how you are when you come off stage. I'm a wreck. For 30 minutes, I'm a wreck before and after. I'm not a good person to talk to. I'm not fun. It's not intentional, but I have to go. My mind needs to be right so that I can do good things on stage.
That is 1,000% true.
And so when you are in that space, you have somebody asking you, you're like, how do I tell them to get out? I just don't let them in the first place. But when I was working with this guy after the first show, he kind of felt my energy, and before the second show, I knew his kind of routine. I go, "Oh, do I need to give you the room?" He goes, "No, you're good. You stay." He goes, "Your energy is good." He goes, "Every time I go to a club, all these people, they want to ask me questions. They think I'm gonna they think it's the mob. If a guy that's on a syndicated TV show or a movie, that he can just snap and call Hollywood and be like, 'Oh my gosh, have you seen this guy?'" You're like, that doesn't even work. These dudes are also realize that because I'm in a club, that means I don't have a movie booked. I don't have a TV show booked. I'm here because my schedule
money.
is blank.
Yeah.
So what could I do for you? I can't even do for myself right now. My agents aren't returning my phone calls. So all that stuff that you're getting, it's tax season. It's all these things. And as a comic, you come and go well, that guy sucked. He was really mean. He's like, no, actually he has more pressure than you can imagine. And he's got to do something that he naturally doesn't know how to do. He's not this guy, but naturally a lot of these guys that come in, your office characters, these people, this is not their gift.
Yeah.
And so
I agree with that specific thing. Absolutely. That's totally true. That's why I said the Cameron thing, it's no big deal. I was being weird. The Skankfest thing was different. They were partying, right? They were just there partying, having fun, and it was a vibe. But I totally agree when you're there to do a show, actually, I think that's how I am. I don't like to talk to people for let's say 10 minutes before I go up. I don't really want to talk as much, but I feel obligated to, and I need to fill silences. It's a thing with me that, anyway, I have a mentor, Jessica Curson, who's amazing. I know she's an anxious person. I opened for her 5 shows in Dallas, and she likes to have, she won't kick people out of the green room, but she has her headphones in. So it was me, the feature, an awesome comic, our friend Cheyenne, who's an angel
Never heard
of a
of him.
person. He's such a sweetheart. Love you. Cheyenne, you're the best. His wife is also a sweetheart. Anyway, anybody would like that guy, right? Like he's just awesome. And he thought Jess didn't like him, I think, because she puts her headphones in and gets like in a zone and doesn't like to talk because she expends, I mean, she's a powerhouse on stage. She expends so much energy, and when you're doing 5 shows in a weekend, she's got 4 kids at home, you know, she's got a lot going on. She produces, she's flying all around. I mean, yeah, she just likes to be in her space.
Yeah.
And so our interaction, I think, is relieving to her because, like, we'll talk about her kid. Like, we'll talk like friends, you know? But other people around her, I think, are nervous. And I'm sure I'm not nervous around her, but I'm sure I am around other comics I don't know as well. And that nervous energy makes a headliner stressed, I would imagine.
Right.
For sure.
Also, like, it's crazy to me that you would think that Jessica Kirsten would be like a bad, like, she's one of the nicest people
She's an angel
on the planet. I'll never forget the first time she was so nice to me. When I was in New York, I got to do like my first like big podcast. Well, I say the second big one, but I was doing YKWd, Bobby Kelly's podcast, and I'd already done my buddy Jared Freed's podcast, and his podcast is like a big one. It's like the first time. I don't know if you've ever done like a podcast where it's like you do it, the episode goes live, and then your phone is different when you wake up. Like that's how, when I did Jared's pod, like that's what it was. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I did like so good. Like I was like, I thought I did really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then I got booked for Bobby's and I was like, oh man, I'm so great. And so I go in, I make all the wrong mistakes. First of all, I drink like 3 coffees before, like, because in New York, you show up early and you're like, oh, I'll just show up. And then I go, well, I'll just go to a coffee shop around the way. But I like showed up like 2 hours early. So I'm just drinking coffee, trying to like get myself psyched up. And it's also the anniversary of the day that Patrice O'Neal had died. So like I'm already got that. And Patrice O'Neal's my hero, and Bobby Kelly and Patrice were like best friends. So I already have that energy kind of bouncing around. And then they call me up. And by the way, his studio was like upstairs. And so I walk upstairs. Stairs and I are mortal enemies. I mean, I'm telling you, when I tell you that I hate stairs more than anything, I walk up these, and New York stairs are like very steep, like village stairs. There's like no, it's like, and then I walk into the studio. The show is already running. He's already going. There's no like, hey guys, welcome to this. Like he's into a bit, and I walk in, and he's already talking to me before I even sit down. There's nobody else here. I sit down. I'm out of breath. And I look behind Bobby, and Patrice's hat that he wore, an elephant in the room, is in a glass case behind the microphone. And so all this, like, I'm like animated. I'm like tired. I'm like, and then the first thing he goes is, "Hey, tell me about when you bombed at the Apollo," because he read my bio, and I go, "Oh," and then and when I tell you, I started bombing. And I didn't stop. Like every joke that I said didn't work. And by the way, as I'm bombing, but I'm continuing to throw. Like I'm continuing to try to tell jokes, and they're just not landing. And then Paul Verzi, who is a good friend of mine now, but I did not know him at the time, comes in, sits down, and I'm bombing in front of Paul too. And then Jessica Kirsten comes in, and she sits down, and I know her, and I'm a big fan of her. And then I'm bombing in front of all my heroes. And I'm
sweating.
But I just keep going. I keep continuing to try, like, one joke. I just got to get one joke. And I'll never forget, Jessica Kirsten was sitting right here. And below the table, I tell another one, and it was just a stinker. Mm-hmm. And I feel her hand come right here on my leg, and she just gave me the nicest, like, that's okay, baby. Like, just like that pat, and she let me know. And I brought attention to it, and it kind of became a running thing. It was, you know what's crazy is that little pat, because I mentioned it, it became the thing that kind of saved me. But like that whole thing, like, I'll never forget that pat, because there's no worse feeling than you're bombing. Like I bombed so bad that I smoke cigars so much. Bobby's a huge cigar smoker. Paul Verzi's a huge cigar smoker. And I mentioned that I smoke cigars. Bobby and Paul go downstairs at the cellar, and we're getting ready to walk up. They're gonna go smoke.
Yeah.
And they go, "Hey, we're gonna go smoke." And they look at me and they go, "Hey, Justin, we'll see you later." You're like, I didn't even get invited to the smoke after. Like, that's how bad I bombed. But I will never ever forget that. It's okay, baby. Like, that's, and I'm glad that she's like still doing that for people.
Oh, she is the most giving. Like, she's all about lifting people up, but she's also no bullshit. It's just the perfect combination. She's the shit. I love her dearly. And she's super fucking funny. So if anyone doesn't know Jessica Curson, follow her.
I mean, he's good friends with one of my favorite comics.
Oh, who's that?
Jenny.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jenny Zagrino, yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's so great.
She's the best. We tour together.
Yeah.
Close friends, love her to death. She's like a sister to me.
There you go.
Sisters, that's a little, maybe too. She probably listens. She says, "I don't think we're that close," but
Yeah.
but we're pretty close.
I mean, she's listening, so
we share.
that's pretty close.
Yes. Well, we
Is
share
she
a hotel.
from-
I don't know. She's not from here. She is from L.A. We just, you know what? We met on a festival that I booked years ago, and she's like. She came in, and this is right before she got her comedy half hour. And she was like, she's hilarious. And she's like, "Do you have a way I can film this? I got to film something for Comedy Central. I'm trying to do it." And she used the half hour. That's how she got her half hour, was the set from the festival that we did. And but we became friends just, anyways, we clicked. I don't know. She's a fun hang. We laugh. We like a lot of the same stuff. She's kind of a huge dork. And I don't know. I love her to death. I can't say anything. She's also, I would argue, one of the best female comics out there. Her storytelling's killer.
Yeah.
I
would agree with
I
that.
don't think that she gets the credit that she deserves as a comic. Like, I don't think she should be bigger than she is. That's
Right.
how I feel about it.
I agree.
But yeah, very close.
I've been a fan of hers for years. I would follow her on.
I think she's from like Minnesota or Michigan or no, Minnesota sounds right.
I mean, I don't think that's
A
something
Midwest.
I think a true friend would know where another friend is from.
I took the sister thing back. She lives in LA
People
now.
from the Midwest are like, I'm not surprised that
we're
she's
true.
not
We're friends, right?
originally
Yeah.
from
Where was I
LA.
born?
Houston, Texas.
No,
Yeah,
I wasn't.
you were.
A suburb.
You're just,
Quit
gonna,
saying that.
you're just gonna force me into it.
Of course.
Yes, you were. You were.
How much
Yes,
time we
you
got?
were.
Yes, we were.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you were. We'll just keep.
No, upstate New York.
Nope.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You weren't born in upstate New
I
York?
moved there when I was 2. Lived there till I was 21.
Did you move there, or did the people that were holding you move there?
Yeah. That's true. There's a comic named Bob Biggerstaff who is funny, and he used to have this joke. He goes, "Yeah, I moved to New York when I was 7 because my parents thought it was a good idea I go with them." That's stupid, but I was like, he had some dumb jokes that I always love. He also has another one where he's like, "I saw a bumper sticker the other day. It said live with autism, but I read it wrong, and I just heard live with autism."
That's pretty good.
And then I'm just gonna do 3 Bob Biggerstaff jokes real quick. And
Rule of threes.
Yeah, and he goes, this guy came up to him. He's like, "Hey man, did you lose some weight?" He goes, "No, but thanks for thinking I was fatter." It's very fun.
Women get that all the
Yeah.
time.
Where are you from, though?
Yeah.
I was born in
Give it-
Galveston.
Okay.
Okay,
which
it's Houston
I'm gonna-
adjacent.
Does not
I'm
count.
gonna
Does
tell you
not
something.
count.
That
does
is the
not
most-
count. Does not count.
You-
Houston and Galveston are very different.
You said it like you were born in Nova Scotia.
Oh, I was Nova Scotia, Galveston.
Yeah.
Galveston, Texas, baby. I know. Yes, it's not Houston though. You can't say it's Houston. It's a beach town. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different
beach
vibe.
town is a stretch too.
It's a beach town.
There's some
Crazy
unswimmable
things
water
happen.
nearby.
Well, it's because there's dead bodies floating in it.
And-
Robert Durst.
and I feel like
I do.
chemicals and oil and
You ever been to the
shit.
Robert Durst house
I feel like he used to live in an apartment complex.
in Galveston?
No, there's also an apartment complex in Rice Village that he used to live in on a street
Oh, I
called
didn't know that.
Robin Hood.
You
And
know
I
the
think
Robert
he had
Durst story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had one of his, I think he had chopped up bodies in there.
How
I
good
always-
was that documentary?
It was great.
It was the best.
Hilarious.
The
When
way
they
that's how
catch
they
him-
catch him at the end.
Uh,
Gosh, they're just like, man, imagine being the guy. Imagine being the Ben of this interview, and he's sitting there, and you're the only one who can probably hear it. The interview person can't hear it, right? You're the only one, and you're just sitting there, and then he's like, "I go pee, I'll be right back." He's like, "I killed them all. Psst, they got you now." And then
feel
you're just sitting like, "What the fuck is going on?
Don't you think he wanted to get caught?
No.
Who's pissing and saying that?
He's obviously a crazy person. He had a conversation with himself at the urinal. He's like, they got you now, buddy. You killed them all. They know it. You know what I mean? It was like back and forth. So it was pretty nuts. And then he shook it off and came out and was like, all right, well, I'm going to go home now.
Yeah. I love, can I tell you my favorite thing about you? I've only known you for a small amount of time.
Is it a good thing?
But I love that you have this like, this very fanciness about you where you go, cause like you're talking about Esposito, you were like, oh, do you want to go to dinner? It's like so proper. Like you're
a real proper bitch.
When you go,
I did do Miss Manners. My mom made me do Miss Manners when I was
Miss
little.
Manners?
what is Miss Manners?
It's like
an
this.
AFI song.
It's a whole course that like little girls have to do. I'm not from the South, but it's like, I imagine it's like what girls have to do before they're. Is it called cotillion? There's something in the South that girls do before they like come of age. It's like their quinceañera. What's it called?
Puberty.
No, the like ball that the girls do.
Debutante?
Debutante
Ooh,
ball.
a debutante ball.
That I imagine they have to do like a manners thing. But anyway, there was just some lady that taught manners, and my mom wasn't raised with money, and she always wanted to put on airs. So she like, instead of Spanish, which would have been useful, she made me take French so I could speak French
you
to
married
nobody or
a
like
rich guy.
he wasn't. We were in college when we met, and he was selling cameras. Like that was.
And then your mom married a rich person.
Yes,
So I think she kind of planned right.
Yeah, but that was in her late 30s, and she cheated on her first husband, and it was terrible. And she had a plan for my father. It was not love. It was not happy, but she had a plan.
Well,
They were two. This is what I'm saying. Money doesn't solve everything. They were two of the most miserable human beings I've ever met. But yes, she did make me learn manners. And I had to do this manners school, which was like learn where the forks and the knives and the spoons go and sit up straight and, whatever.
bad. Sorry.
So I tried it. No, I don't give a fuck. I try to fight that all the time. But yeah, occasionally it comes out that I'm a little bougie.
I mean, you legit, you looked at me and goes, those aren't beaches. Like that is somebody
that's
that
true.
is like,
I mean, am I not allowed to say that they're shitty? They are.
Have you been to the Hamptons before?
No, but she does spend a month in Mexico every year.
Listen, I have not been to the Hamptons before. Hamptons
It's a
wouldn't
little
be my
cold for my liking.
Jesus H. Christ. I'm just gonna lean into this shit.
You're like, what is this, 1990? We're going to the Hamptons still?
Yeah, weekend at Bernie's. We're doing that.
I'm not like social though. I don't care about being any part of society. Like I'm gonna go. It's funny because I actually get this from comics a lot, what you're saying about being fancy. But then when I go amongst like people that my mom would have me around, she would always lie about me. Like she
was raised by wolves.
She like would describe me as the daughter she wish I was. Like she plays the violin beautifully. I'm like,
Do you?
no, I don't. No. Like she just would like want me to be fancier. And then there are all these women in the South that do all this like, what is it called? It's not Young Life. That's a Christian thing.
Thug life.
There's also like, do you know the women's group that does like a ton of charity in the South, but it's super society driven?
The red hat people?
I forget what it
maybe.
is, but like all these like joining country clubs, like all my friends have kids and they're like, they go to this private school. We're joining this country club. These are my husband's friends. I don't give a fuck about that. I like to be alone, but I do like to be comfortable and I do like nice things.
Do you not understand that your mom you should have your mom as a guest on this podcast?
Oh yeah,
We don't
let's
speak.
do that.
We don't speak.
But
I'll
that's
speak to her.
Can I tell you something? A woman that runs her life like a Wu-Tang song.
Oh, she's a bat. She is strong in ways.
That's what I'm saying is that whether you know it, like this is my favorite thing about when I meet, because like I had a grandpa that was like this, that he would give you life advice when you were young, and it's still like he'll give me life advice. He gave me life advice as a kid, and then you grow up and you're like, it all clicks. Like everything that he said, like clicks to me. And I feel like that's what she did for you, because you're like, she taught you how the game works.
She hates
taught
her mom, dude.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think she's a bad person. I think she's an elegant woman.
Yeah.
She's curious,
Can we
adventurous.
see a picture?
She loves to read. Yeah, I'll show you actually an old picture. This is actually kind of
Put
fun.
it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So-
well, tell me, but
got a
tell me
swimsuit
about
one?
it.
She is like,
Swimsuit
she's very
pic?
elegant. She's very adventurous. She loves to learn. She loves to be, she always like, she's an intellectual or tries to be. She surrounds herself with people smarter than her. She always told me, and this is like too ingrained in me, like undersell, over deliver, don't promote yourself, which is hard with comedy, right? Like don't take selfies, don't be into yourself, like don't because that's disgusting. Like, and yet she always made looks important. Like there's a lot of grossness
Right.
about her. And she targeted my father for a reason, and it wasn't love. And she hasn't treated me with much love. Like she never said I love you or hugged me. This isn't funny podcast shit.
No. But here's the
But-
thing.
Not every podcast
You're-
is funny,
But here's
especially
the thing.
this one.
You are. Andrew's been reading comments again. No. But here's the thing: is she taught you the game?
Yeah, she's
She
strong.
taught you game. Like here's the thing: is some parents, they know I can't be maternal. I can't be this. So how do I raise it? How do I give you a set of skills? Whether you use those skills or not. But here's the thing. Look at me. You have those skills. You have that skill set,
No one
whether
to
you
teach
want
them
to
to.
use it or not. And what's great about that, having that skill set, you can use it as an offensive tactic, or you can defend yourself with it. So, if you grow up like my dad used to own pool halls, so I grew up in my childhood. I grew up around hustlers, and the best thing he ever did was he taught me like hustles. He taught me how somebody hustles somebody else. It's about deception and confidence and all these things. And he taught me how a hustler takes somebody's money. Because no matter what, that guy always thinks that if I just turn one corner, if I make one more shot, if I make one more deal, one more handshake, one more smile, one more thing, I'm one corner away from being rich or wealthy or liked or all these things. As long as you think it's just around the corner, you will keep throwing money, throwing time, throwing all this stuff. And that's when somebody understands that game, like that's the best thing that I was ever taught. Because I learned that whenever you do something, like if you do comedy, if you do whatever it is, if you know the game and you know what you're putting in, then that's the best thing you could ever do. Don't ever think that it's around. Just do for the now. Do for what you're doing now.
I mean, it's a beautiful, positive way to look at it. I'm curious what you think. Like, what do you think it is? What's the difference between like the kids that take those things from their parents and they're like, they want to be just like their parents? You see those kids who like,
Who
they,
wants to be just like their parents?
when they're older. I'm saying like
Okay,
not when
maybe.
you're a teenager, you know, whatever. You're like, my dad gave me this, my grandpa gave me this skill, whatever. Versus like I saw what they tried to instill in me, and then I'm gonna like do everything the opposite of that because like I go back and forth. There are things that she gave me that I want to take and use, and I think you're right, and that's a beautiful thing to like be grateful for and acknowledge. But then there's other shit where I'm like, she's fucking miserable, and I want to take all those things and do the polar opposite of that thing.
Right. But she's also alive.
Yeah.
And she's living a life where she doesn't have to live on a street. She doesn't have to. She's living a life that she's fine because she found a way to like being
She's
happy and
surrounded
being
by-
alive are two different things.
She's surrounded by things,
right.
for sure.
We got stuff all around us.
Yeah.
True.
Are you happy?
But people.
You are.
People.
I'm
I
still
am
upset
happy.
that it's not the silver snakes over here. I got to say that.
Huh?
That it's not the silver snakes.
Oh no, green monkeys all the way, baby.
It's not a great. It's probably
Let me see.
grainy. It's probably
I was
grainy.
kind of looking for.
Yeah.
Whoa, look at all these comments. Well, you're just showing us comments.
This is on my. Oh, whoops.
Those
sorry.
are those are future fathers-in-laws.
Those are. You got something a little more recent. She's younger than you in this photo.
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to my mom forever, so this is just my Instagram, and I happen to have one photo of my mom on my
okay.
Instagram, and this was funny because it's on the cover of Utah Scene, and she like has skis and it's old school, you know. She had me when she was 39.
You're not friends on Facebook.
She's not on Facebook. She hates social
My mom's
media.
on Facebook.
She's not. Your mom's on Facebook. Are you
Oh.
friends?
Yeah.
Do you have interactions?
I delete her comments all the time.
You do.
Anytime she says something, I'll go delete. Okay,
Does she
okay.
comment? Do you think?
You know
that
what my favorite thing is? This is my mom's real bad at the internet, and I'll grab this photo, throw this up on the Patreon too. She's had the same profile photo for years, but she keeps updating the like the filters on it. So it's like no hate, Whatever. She has no hate. It's Halloween. She's still praying for Japan in her photo. It's so good. It's just like filter on top of filter on top of filter on top of filter, and I fucking love it.
Or it's just the same photo, just
It's
over
the same
again.
photo. Then it's the filter of the like Halloween's here, and then it's the photo with Halloween because you don't know how to use it. But then it adds trans rights on top of it, so it's just like boom, 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 boom.
How do our parents use
fucking
the
awesome.
internet? Like, are they on Facebook and they're just like,
My dad comments, Andy, this is your dad. I'm like, this is Facebook. I can tell who this is.
I like that he calls you Andy too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He also, every time, that's how when he calls me, he's like, Andy, it's your father. And I'm like, I have a cell phone. We know this.
I feel like, how is it so? My dad was very smart, but I had to like teach him how to use email. That's how old he was. And then my mom, when she used to text me, would write like a letter. So she would write like, Dear Jamie, comma, and then like the body of the text message, and then like another line, your mother.
Signs the text
Signs
message.
the
I
text
do like
message. Like that is some old school shit.
But I did that in emails for too long. I did it I
well,
I would write an
yeah.
email, but you don't like. I remember somebody being like, "Hey, just like somebody." I remember I think it was a booker replied to my email and go, "Yeah, these dates work." Blah blah blah, and they go, "By the way, your name comes across whenever you don't have to sign it at the end."
Yeah.
They're like, kindest regards,
You're
Justin
like,
Smith. You're like, you don't have to do that
"Whoa."
anymore.
My dad once texted me, what's your phone number?
What? How?
I don't know. I mean, I know how he did it, but I don't know how he couldn't figure that out.
That is adorable.
It's bad.
I love that.
That
It's bad.
explains a lot.
Anyway, he's got dementia, so
Yeah.
it's not as
All
fun.
right, there
It's
we
not
go.
as cute as it could have been.
Is this recently?
Well, that was like 2 years ago. But
I mean,
you
it
know.
is to him.
Yeah. Well,
Could have been yesterday.
he's it's nutty dealing with someone with slight dementia because he'll be there for most of the time, and then sometimes he'll just be like, I'll see him and he'll be like, Andy, is that you? I haven't seen you in 2 years. And I was like, we hung out 2 weeks ago, Dad.
No,
Like,
I
what
feel
the
like you
hell?
give it to him, right? Like you play into it. Let them have their reality. Is that what I feel
No,
like?
I don't think you do that. I think you say, nope, Dad, remember I was here 2 weeks ago.
All right. I don't know. I don't know what the
You don't
answer
talk
is.
to your dad or your mom. Your mom.
My dad's dead, so
well, you should talk to him.
I mean, I kind of do. So I talk.
You should make amends before it's too late.
No, my dad and I were good. My dad was a sweet old man. My dad would like come to Father's, the like bring your dad to school day or whatever. We had one of those.
Did you guys
and
ever
they'd
go to
always
a
be like,
dance together?
I bet you're his grandpa. No, we never had the the
Daddy
daddy
dance?
daughter dance is a little creepy. No, I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Well, you're not dancing with the other daughters. Like, it's just your daughter.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I
It's
know.
not like it's like, hey, what do you think we switch partners, huh? What do you?
That'd be kind of amazing, actually. It's like, who decided this? Like, some weird dad is like running the.
He just walks in. Can I cut in? Just like what the fuck?
It's not weird if I mean it's the same thing as like if
Good
your
night,
if your
Kevin.
daughter's like the flower girl at a wedding. Like
No, I
when anybody
know.
dances with the flower girl, that's like the move.
I saw like moms get upset because there was a mom, like a mommy blogger type person, influencer who is kissing her kid on the lips in a photo. And there are people in the comments like, this is gross. This is weird. I'm like, the fact that you think it's weird makes you fucked up, not the mom who's like giving her kid a kiss and obviously putting it out there like,
My dad still kisses on the mouth. It's a little weird.
You're,
It's pretty bizarre.
Dad kissing adult male son on the mouth is a little odd. Do you
I
ever
know,
say
it's,
like?
it's weird.
Do you ever say, "Hey, Dad"?
You made her
Don't.
switch sides in this
I
argument.
usually go, Dad, less tongue, please.
I mean, I'm
no,
talking
but
about a
he's
mommy blogger with like their 3-year-old daughter. Is like, it's
that's
like,
not weird
Well,
at all.
can I just say something that to me, that's what's always weird about culture is like you look at that, you're like, oh, she kissed her on the mouth. That's weird. You go, well, she's putting her daughter on the internet. Like that's weird to me.
Yeah.
So the fact that the kiss thing is like you're like, it makes me mad at people watching it. You're like, you're mad at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
kissing's
feel
weird.
like I'm unfortunately beyond that. Like, there's so much trash that I consume to turn my brain off. It's like having a drink or whatever. Like, a lot of the shit I watch and look at is humiliating
like-
and embarrassing.
Like Below Deck.
But yeah, I'm sure. I only watch the Bravo shows when I'm in a hotel and they're on. We don't have cable anymore, but I do. I like get joy out of that dumb shit for sure. But I also
Hot
get a
People
weird
Island
joy.
or whatever.
Did you see? Have you ever seen like the comeuppance videos when it's like a mom? I think some like their pet died or something, and she accidentally posted her telling her kid to cry and like yelling at him like look sadder, da da da, and she accidentally posted that instead of the finished polished video. How fucked up is that? This
Yeah.
is the world we live in, but it's on the consumers, right? That shit wouldn't exist if there weren't enough of us watching it, and I'm part of the problem.
Well, so what? So you said you don't have cable.
Don't have cable, but I'll watch. They have reality TV
On Netflix?
on
It's
like
all over the
or
place.
Hulu. Hulu has a ton of the like housewives and all that junk.
So why did you cut cable?
Uh, my husband is a very frugal.
But cable's boring. Who does cable's weird?
No. But I'm saying like here's the thing: is like if I cut cable, it's because I don't have $400 to spend.
Yeah.
Some people have money to spend.
Yeah, but
he's obsessive about if I get the $2 tire shine at the car wash. He's like, why'd you spend those $2? He's obsessive about money. He's very like nervous he won't have it again, and so he's very like.
That's how you stay rich.
We don't need these things, and actually, like it's really helped me. I think if I had never met him, I would be a bigger piece of shit with like material things. Like I used to have a shopping like problem.
Yeah.
And I don't really give a fuck anymore.
Can I ask this might be a personal question. What's like the craziest thing that you've ever bought? Like even when you bought it, you were like, I don't think I should have bought that.
Probably pre him, but like, or maybe during. I honestly nothing crazy. Men buy more expensive singular things because they buy toys and things. Like I just would buy too many like clothes from ridiculous places. I'm
still not hearing a price or a thing yet.
Or a price.
But
honestly,
she knows what it is. You
I
see her
know.
smiling?
No,
Yeah.
nothing specifically comes
You
to
can't say
mind.
anything's too crazy just because about the purse.
I'd say, oh God,
I got a $2,000 purse.
I'd say upgrading to like a suite. It's usually a travel thing. So I'd say like upgrading to a suite or something when I was traveling or staying somewhere super fancy.
This is a cop-out answer.
Yeah, come on. I
get
really
it. You're intimidated. We're minimalists here. I don't buy things I don't need.
I'm genuine. No. I'm saying that in life, but when we travel, that's where we do something nice, and then I usually influence. But like when I'm alone, which doesn't happen, I don't travel alone that much anymore. So it was usually like.
But you said you have a shopping problem.
I used to have a shopping problem.
So what'd you buy? What's the problem?
Just honestly expensive clothes.
Gotcha.
Expensive clothes.
What's the so like if you're like I got expensive clothes. I got a bunch of like listen, I have lots of things.
At your guys' shoe collections are insane, and this guy still walks around in sandals and Crocs.
This is comfortable, and I got like these are nice slides.
It's his house.
It's my house
/ studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like we all dabble. I've bought in things that are like crazy before. I've bought in crazy things before.
I bought shoes that I've brought them home, never wore, and I'm like, I shouldn't have bought those. I know it. I've got a handful of shoes that I'm like, that was the way I just got in. You know what happens is there's a Nike outlet store I took you one time.
Yeah.
And
by the way, I was hoping that you would come home that we could go again.
Maybe tomorrow before you leave.
Okay.
Maybe.
Fine. Done.
Is this a date at Katie Mills Mall or whatever?
No, it's
well, it could be a 3-person date if you would tell us what you bought.
Literally, highest dollar value would be a hotel or an airplane ticket.
Well, what about a purse that costs $2,000?
Justin, are you asking about the straw that broke the camel's back?
I'm saying okay, I'll give you an example of something that I bought. Will it make you feel more comfortable if I tell you something?
I genuinely don't have a thing, but you can.
Okay,
you have a $2,000 purse.
Stop saying it. Jesus Christ.
Well, you're saying you're like,
by the way,
the most I've ever done is
upgraded
to a suite.
I didn't buy that, by the way. Every 3 years or so, 3 to 4 years at Christmas,
a rich lady dies.
Jeremy buys me a bag. Aww. Every 3 to 4 years, approximately, Jeremy buys me a bag. So, like, over time, I wear it out. I don't have like 18 bags. I have that bag.
Nice. Can we see the bag? Is it here?
No, I don't carry it because of this.
Well,
No. But here's the thing: it's like this is, and then let me tell you something that I had a hard time being like you. When you're a comic, this is the stupid thing that comics do, where they take
it's
people.
stupid.
It is stupid.
I don't know what we're talking
It is
about.
100%
All right, let's hear
stupid.
what it is, though.
When you make you've blindly agreed to so many things in this podcast.
I
already.
always do. I'm in.
But like, I think you're around so many comics that struggle with identity that it's like if you see somebody that doesn't like look like you or act like you. Also, this is my favorite thing about Houston. I walk into the green room at your club, and I walk in, and nobody looks the same. No comic. You have a comic that's jacked with no sleeves. You have a dude. You have Trey.
that one.
You have a Trey who's he's dressed with like a cardigan sweater.
Please describe as many Houston comics as you can, and then we'll just name them as they come in.
And then you have like Trey's dressed like Donald Glover, but like he was still doing comedy. And then you have a dude that's just he's wearing like a Miami type shirt with an unbuttoned all the way here to keep. We don't have to name all these dudes.
It's fun.
But I because these things like
It's like a guess who.
I'm not making a podcast for the local comics here. Like what I'm doing is like listen. There's amazing things about Houston, and it makes you all different. So you shouldn't look like everybody else. That's stupid.
Yeah, I get that.
So bring your purse out.
I get that 1,000%. It's just that I don't really identify the way that I dress and go out to do comedy is like honestly more true to how I am. I'm just not like a heels and bag and whatever girl. I'm really not. I never have been. I know that might sound crazy because I probably look more feminine than I feel. I don't really identify as super girly. Well, I have no tits is his joke that
that wasn't even a tit joke, but I love your insecurities.
But it's not insecure. So like it's funny. I just acknowledge out loud who I am, and I think that freaks people out. You know, I'm a happy person. Like
yes, I know you're probably the happiest person in this room.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I know everybody pretty well, and you're a happy guy.
I just think that people hear these things about me, and they think that that is my identity, and that is how I grew up, and I'm open about that, and I'm open about who I think I'm pretty open about who I am, but I just don't identify, or I'm trying not, especially with my husband probably affected that a lot, like trying to identify as someone who like. Of course, money helps life, survival, and it's very nice, and I like to be comfortable. But I like to specifically put myself in uncomfortable situations and do shit that scares me and challenges me, and not fall into being obsessed with that stuff. So I do think I kind of avoid making my life about that stuff too much.
So you're saying is you like artistically to kind of like do things that like scare you or that you don't feel comfortable
and
doing.
Dress, and I try to dress down, and I try like not show, like I try not to make my looks or what I have financially the thing that people see when they look at me. And I don't want to become my mother who's surrounded by things and is miserable, you know?
Right. So what do you say?
This is a therapy session.
Well, I tell you what. Let's try something together. Let's
fuck.
Let's try something uncomfortable.
What is happening?
Together.
We were talking about.
You want to try this?
I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by your ring.
Yeah. By the way, it's so funny. I did not bring that up because I could tell she was very frustrated. She was like, "There's nothing worse than like being a comic." And you're like, because
we're talking about the turkey leg hut just moments ago, and then now this. What's happening?
Turkey leg hut got cut. That's not even on the pod.
First of all, I can tell you right now, you've not been to Turkey Leg Hut with that ring on. I can tell you that right now.
Have you been to Turkey Leg Hut?
I feel like I like turkey, but I don't like bacon wrapped around it.
See, that is a no.
Turkey.
How do you feel about this? A turkey leg cut open, fettuccine Alfredo stuffed inside of it.
It's not stuffed inside. It's draped on top.
Oh, I thought it was cut and stuffed and.
No.
I do stuff as long as there's not cow or pig on it. Then I'm cool.
You don't eat cow or pig?
Nah.
More of just a bird eater.
Yeah, and I only started eating the bird stuff with the fertility stuff because they said I needed more protein. But birds and fish, anything I could really kill with my own hands, then I'll eat it.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. You have an element.
You're killing a bird with your own hands.
You wring its neck.
You're so sweet for so many times, and then you just have this little drop of sadistic that comes out.
Oh yeah,
You've never
And it
killed
is
a bird.
astounding.
I've killed a chicken on Pioneer Days.
What is Pioneer Day?
It's a thing that so on my one
Those
side
are rich
I'm-
people pretend to be. They're like, we're the pioneer.
So, my dad's the Jewish one. My mom's the Mormon one. When they split up, we moved to Utah. She stuffed Mormonism down my throat. And for 2 years, I really tried. And we had Pioneer Days where you dress like the pioneers. You're supposed to live like them. And one of the things you do is you
go
kill
off
a
with an older
fucking
man.
you kill a fucking chicken. I'm sure that happened.
Yeah.
Ugh. But not to me, thank God. And you snap its neck. It's super fucking. It's crazy easy
So
to
you
kill a
snapped
chicken.
its chicken's head. Did you cut it off? Never wanted to do it, but you always hear about if you cut a chicken's head off, it'll still run around for a while. I always wanted to be a part of that. I don't want to do it.
What is happening?
I don't want to do it, but I kind of want to see it. You know?
You know what's funny is I feel like this is the perfect city for y'all to live in, because I when I go on stage here, I always find that when I talk about crazy stuff that I experience other places, people in Houston are unfazed by anything that I bring up. Everywhere else in the country, people are like, that's not, they look at me like it's not real. And then, but people in Houston are just like, how is that not, they're looking at me like I can one up that story so easy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff happens in Houston. We're diverse. We're rich. We're poor. We're
Also, comics
it's
are
all
kind of
they're nuts. The other day we had someone on the roof of the secret group. It's nuts.
Just hanging out.
Yep. So
I mean, dude, every time I'm in, even just being in
and then they're
Ubers
like,
here.
I can't be up here. We're like, well, what the hell is wrong with you?
But that's great. It's like you're the one that messed up. I guess you did. We didn't.
I didn't see a sign.
We didn't have a security guard up here. I guess.
Yeah. They're like, I didn't see a sign. So we're like, okay.
But even when I'm here, I always have crazy experiences, that are literally, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Chicago, I've been in crazy, like I said, I lived 2 stops from the Bronx in New York, but the craziest things that I've ever seen happen are always here. Literally 2 nights ago, first night I came to town, I came in, I dropped my bags, I went to the secret group, I did my show, and I got an Uber to come back, and as we're coming back, which is it's not close. So I'm in the Uber, we're driving back, and I look over the driver's shoulder, and the low fuel light is on. It's on, and we still have miles to go. And I don't know how long this light has been on. So the driver is he's just driving there's nothing wrong. It's service light, low fuel light. It's going back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
And we're almost there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to push this car. Because first of all, if you've ever had an Uber, I don't know if you've ever had an incident with an Uber, but if something happens on the highway, you're just on the highway. There's nobody that can come pick you up. You can't call an Uber. You're just, I guess I'm changing a flat tire now, which I've had happen to me before. So I'm like, I can't push
You're
this
way
car.
nicer than me.
I mean, there's nothing you can do.
I cancel
I've
and
got a
call
flat in an
another
Uber.
Yeah.
They can't pick you up on the highway.
Well, you walk to the exit. I've definitely got a flat in an Uber and been like, all right, well, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Just start walking.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that so we pull up, we're on your street, we're getting ready to get to your house, and the little bup thing pops up for another ride offer, and I watch him accept the ride.
Ooh.
He accepts another ride with an empty fuel tank.
People
Did
are
he
wild.
ask you to go to I think it's even creepier when they accept it and then they ask you if they
Go to
can
a
make
gas
stops.
station?
I'm like,
that's weird.
especially as a chick alone, I'm like, no, can you not, or just cancel my ride?
I always go, I guess.
And then they want to force you to cancel so that you get charged the whatever.
Oh, yeah. I drunkenly got into a fight with him. Not like a fist fight, but like a yelling match. He called me and goes, cancel the Uber. I go, no, you cancel the Uber. He goes, no, you cancel. I go, you fucking cancel it, dude. It's just both of us. He's like, you cancel it. I'm like, I'm not going to cancel it because I'll get charged. And I was like, you're the one fucking up. I'm not canceling anything. And so we went back and forth, and it's a whole thing.
Is your rating fucked?
No, it used to be worse because it used to be You know, I was in a bad relationship once, and I wouldn't say it was all bad, but like we used to put it back, drinking together, and I still do. But the difference is we weren't doing it together. We don't do it together, and we don't fight. You know, and so we would get into it in Ubers. And one time I was on mushrooms, and so was she, and we're in an Uber and we're fighting. And but this is the first time she'd ever done mushrooms. Told her it was a bad idea, but you know, we're high, and then we get to a red light, and then she goes like, "I'm out of here," and she leaves, starts walking down Washington Avenue on mushrooms at like 3 a.m. And so then I get out chasing after the Uber's like, "You need help?" And I was like, "I don't know what to do." I'm like on mushrooms and high.
You tip him?
I was running after someone on mushrooms. I just, but yes, on the app, like 2 days later or whatever. But
You let him sweat for 2 days.
well, no, I was on mushrooms. I was dealing with her. I finally get her, and then I catch up to her. Everything's fine. I call another Uber. Another Uber comes, and then we get in the Uber, and but I'm like high, right? And so I'm just like waiting for the Uber. By the time I get in the other Uber, I double check, make sure it's the right one, like 5 different times. I get in the Uber, and I look over at my girlfriend, and she's gone again. I can't find her anywhere. And at this point, I'm just too high. I'm too fucked up. It's 3 a.m.
You left her?
No, I can't. I'm like, I get in the Uber, and the lady's like, "How's your night going?" And I was like, "I'm on mushrooms." I start crying, and I was like, "I can't find my girlfriend. She's on mushrooms too. I don't really know what to fucking do. If you could help me drive around and find her, that would be cool." And then the Uber lady, she's like, "We've all been there," and I was like, "What? That's crazy."
She's high. She's
But then
like,
eventually I got a hold of her, and she called an Uber, and we just met at the house. It was so awkward because she was already at the house, and I come in, and we just like acted like things were normal. like the night did not go like it went, you know.
you hook up.
No, we were on mushrooms. That's crazy.
Oh, is that not a thing?
Not me. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's what. I can't believe that you didn't say anything to the guy during the ride. Did you not say anything to your guy during the
no,
ride?
I let him. Dude, I believe in you. Got to let people cook.
Let him do
Whatever he's living his life, the way he's living his life. If he gets me where I'm going, living his life, then I'm all about it.
I used to have a Subaru in high school that would go a long time with the gas tank on empty. And like my mom, it's very weird. I grew up a certain way, but she was like very, very strict. So if I wanted to use the car, I had to, for my job, like pay for the gas. Would always coast on no gas. I feel like I would go like 20 miles after the empty thing on that. Subarus are great cars.
I'd run out of gas
was
a handful of
not a
times.
Subaru.
Let's take a call or email, whatever we got. Let's give some advice. See what we can do to ruin your life.
All right, we got an email. I, 22 male, am too agreeable. This has caused me to be very meek and passive, which gets you nowhere in life. I've realized that as a man, I should be able to be a bit more disagreeable because otherwise I will get nothing. It affects my professional life and my personal life, especially in dating.
Was that it? The whole thing?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
I'm already not a fan. Disagreeable? That's not the...
No, he's too agreeable.
Yeah, but he's saying I need to be... I don't think he should define how he needs to be as disagreeable. That's not the route.
I would say it seems a little English as second language. Disagreeable meaning like assertive. I think that's what he's trying to say.
I think, I get what he's saying. He's right. I don't know. You can't just be like you can't let people roll over your whole life. That's just what it is, right?
You know what's funny? As I believe him because he did not ask a question.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I know.
I'm just letting you guys know that I'm very agreeable. You'd agree with me.
I do. I agree very much.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I think he's not wrong, but you just eventually. But I think that comes with a little bit of age. I don't, how old?
22.
That's insane. I think you get older and then you start to care less. And so then you become a little bit less agreeable and you realize your time is important and you realize that like, I want to do what I want to do. And obviously be flexible and things like that. That's important. But I think that, I think as you get older, your time's more important to you. And so I think not having to go with other people's things. It used to be a thing where if I went out with my friends, right, when I was younger, and they're like, "Hey, we're all going to this tonight," I'd be like, "Oh, I hate that place. Okay, let's go." Now I'm like, "You guys have fun. I'm going to do something else." But that's not a thing I could do early on in life. I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm just doing what my friends are doing, and this is what they chose, you know. And now I'm like, oh no, I want to do what I want, and you can do what you want, and then we'll meet up later or whatever. You know? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think it's the most important thing is you have to find people that like vibe with you like that. It feels like he's around people that he like values what they think instead of like what makes him happy, and like that, like trying to make those people happy. You'll never be happy.
Yeah.
Like you won't. It's not gonna mesh. It's not gonna click. No matter how much you say yes, absolutely, sure, it's never gonna click. Like it's not gonna click with your environment. So you need to change your environment because I can also tell by his email he doesn't really know who he is either.
Yeah, he's 22.
So
You don't have to.
But
There's
I mean,
nothing
like-
wrong with that. Also, when I say that,
But I remember like when I was in college, I went to a Christian college to be like a pastor. And before, like when I got to college, I kind of discovered like iTunes, and I found my own music. I found the music that I like. I kind of found the clothes that I like, and I had people kind of like mold me in that college where it's like, no, like you want to be a preacher, so you have to wear like nice clothes and dress clothes, and you wear like ties and sweaters and all that stuff. But the whole time I was like, no, like I don't want to wear that. I want to wear
you do that.
what?
Yeah, you do that. I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, but I didn't know that. I didn't have that thing because everybody that was successful in that vein, that's what they wore. And you don't realize like, oh, no. What makes you special in this world is not what you wear, what you present. Also chasing other people's vision of it. The thing that makes you amazing and unique is that you do things differently. So every turn you should celebrate that. Because like it's even like being like a big dude. Like when you're like dating people, like dating girls, where you're like you think, oh, like I want to look like this dude. You're like, yeah, but there's tons of dudes that look like that. LA's full of them. But it's like no dude, like dudes don't look like me. We're rare. So and by the way, the girls that are into dudes like me, they're into it. Like it's like too much ketchup on a plate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like they are so into it. It's bananas.
That's how I describe you.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's my new nickname. In fact, did I just do the episode name right there? Too much ketchup on the
that's pretty
plate.
good.
Clip it.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I think that is exactly right. And I think that confidence, I don't know that you have to necessarily change the people that you're around, but just generally like confidence in yourself will bring good things to you. Like you'll be around people, the right people. You'll make the right choices when you just are confident. I feel like there's nothing, I wish I could give it to people. I wish it takes time and it takes work, but I wish I could like if I was raising a kid, the main thing I'd want to give them is confidence, because I think if you're confident in yourself, you're going to treat other people right, but you're going to treat yourself right. It just like as a circle, it comes back. So yeah, I think confidence is the main thing. It like comes through, it shines through everything.
He talked about dating in it, right?
Yeah,
Is that what he said?
It says it's affecting his personal life, so maybe he's just getting
Dating,
turned
yeah.
down, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you're right."
Well, it is. I mean, I think especially that age. I'm assuming he's dating people that age.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. There's definitely people that I like dated, and I was like, for lack of a better word, simping for. I was like, oh man, I love like this person I'm so into, and so I was like, oh, whatever you want, let's do this. Okay, cool. You know. And I remember those relationships not lasting long at all, and they were usually the ones that were like, I'm not interested in you. And then this is a fucked up thing, because then the ones where I was like, I don't care that much, those are the ones that end up becoming longer. It's a real dating's a real fuck show. Get married.
I feel like you have to be careful because there is an overcorrection I noticed with those dudes who feel like meek, and then the way that they overcorrect, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like that's why with the disagreeable thing like hit my ear, maybe because I'm a chick, like in a certain way. Like yes, women want an assertive and confident man,
But don't hit him in the ear.
but anyone who's listened knows they'll throw them against the wall thing. But like the overcorrection that scares me is all of this like negging women. That what's the guy who was like really shitty on Twitter and he got canceled? Andrew Tate. Like young men like this guy find an Andrew Tate and they're like, oh, I need to neg women. I need to treat
There's
them like
always
shit.
an Andrew Tate. Who was the guy before Andrew Tate? What was the pickup artist?
The pickup
or whatever,
artist.
That guy. There's always like I'll teach you how to get laid and get rich guy. Like
So
that's
be assertive and confident, but that doesn't mean you have to be cruel or neg women or be a piece of shit. So like just don't overcorrect too much. just work on your own confidence in yourself, and I promise chicks will be into you.
Or they won't, and you'll be alone.
Yeah.
But
that is
either way,
also possible.
no.
You said that with confidence. Like, I promise chicks will be into you. You never seen this guy? You never talked to this guy?
I'm telling,
You
at
know,
least listen,
You've never smelled this guy before.
I can tell you.
I promise they'll love you if you're just confident.
I genuinely believe that women put less. Yes, it is harder for men to get laid than women, but one thing that I think men have it easier in is that generally men care for a partner, like somebody you're actually with in a monogamous relationship or whatever, polyamorous, but like together, serious relationship. Women care less about looks than men do by far. So if you are a badass guy with a ton of confidence, that, at least for me, like, I can be not physically attracted to a dude that I've been on, like when I was single and doing Tinder dates and stuff. I would go out and I could walk into a date and be like, I'm not physically attracted to this dude. And within 5 minutes, mine changed. I want to hook up with this dude. I'm serious. Maybe not all women are like that. I can't speak for everyone.
I think you're right.
But you can change a woman's mind by them being like, whoa, like confidence. I don't know.
I assume that anyone who's ever slept with me is all about the confidence that I have and not about the look.
Andrew, you said you would never tell anybody about that. Okay.
It's harder for women though, because I don't think that same thing applies with women. Like, I think if dudes are like, ooh, they might have a lower bar for sex, but like for dating, I think they have looks, and if you don't fit their bill, it's harder.
I disagree about the looks part, but
also with this dude, because you said he's 22, right? 22.
That's correct.
Every dude will have his day. You're gonna go through phases, and the dudes that are getting it now, that had like their whole life is popping, it's not gonna be popping the whole time. Every guy hits streaks, and you can see it in like some dudes, like they peak really early in high school. Some dudes peak in college. Some dudes peak in their 30s. I happen to be peaking right now. But you
Gross.
peak at different.
Do that in private. That's
Okay, all right. That's we're trying to keep it clean over here.
we don't keep this clean at all.
I'm sorry, Justin.
No. It's fine. That's fine. First of all, this person is probably not even listening to anything. This person probably isolated all these things and just listens to your section of the podcast anyway. So, but what I'm saying is that eventually you're gonna hit your stride. You're gonna have a section of your life. So just hang in there. If it's not going good in your high school, just hang in there. If it's not going good in college, just keep trying to find yourself. And I promise you, try different hairstyles. Try everything. Legit, it's at some point it's gonna click. I promise. And it might be in your 40s, it might be in your 30s, it might be in your 50s.
Could be the last day of your life.
The best thing about being a dude, though, is that you are gonna have opportunities in every decade of your life. I promise you. So just keep your head up, King.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Hell yeah. We should actually really quickly plug your stuff, because you should check out his Instagram, because he looks fly as hell. I meant it when I said it.
Yeah.
You could see some
sounds
hat
weird coming out of your mouth.
You could see some hat
He
looks.
looks fly.
Yeah.
Well,
This young man looked fly on his Instagrams.
I'm from that era when they said that. That's a word from my era. I can't say
Still
bet.
sounds weird.
I told you about trying to
You can
say
say
bet
bet
for a week and it did not work out.
What about
But
word?
fly is
Word
from
okay?
fly is from our era.
I say word a lot. Is that all right?
Yeah, but that's kind of from our era. I feel like that shit's from our time. All right. Well, did we help? That's what we say at the end of this. I hope we helped.
You might have. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So we got to get out of here. So let's plug our stuff. Let's have our guest, Justin, plug what's coming up. What fun stuff are you doing?
If you go to my Instagram, Justin Smith Comedy, I've got a link tree on there. You can find everything you need. I got dates coming up. I have a special that I'm very proud of. It's called Coronation. It's on YouTube. It's free. Go watch it. If you like it, go share it. That's a big thing. I'm very proud of it. I got a lot of things coming. I just taped a couple things that'll be coming out this summer that I'm very excited about. But yeah, it's come see me live and come to a show And if you're in the Houston area, I come here a lot. So, and
yeah.
it's just great. By the way, thank you for having me. I don't know if I said that.
Thank you
or
for
whatever.
coming.
Yeah.
We usually don't thank our guests, but
That's
since
okay.
you brought it up, we will.
Okay. All right.
Jamie, what do you got?
Yeah, just follow me at the Jamie Rowan. I always sit somewhere here on the screen. And my website will have dates and stuff, jamierowancomedy.com. And yeah, follow at the Mess Hall Pod. Call in, leave a voicemail at 832-744-9492. Andrew?
That's it. AndrewYoungblood.com. All my dates are up there. Come see me. But I got a ton of things coming up. So just pay attention to the website. Come out, tweet at me, message me, talk about how you hate this podcast. Let me know.
Taping his first special, too.
I am, but I'm changing the date, so I didn't bring it up.
Oh, shit. All
That's
right.
okay. Who cares? Anyways, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Bye.